The elevator climbed toward the 32nd floor of Meridian Financial Tower, and Maya Chen adjusted the visitor's badge clipped to her blazer with deliberate precision. The laminated card read, "External Consultant, Temporary Access," a laughably modest description for someone who would be announcing the acquisition of 3 entire departments in less than 2 hours. She caught her reflection in the polished steel doors and allowed herself the smallest of smiles. Her brother Daniel had always underestimated her attention to detail, especially when it came to timing. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from, and if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow I've saved something extra special for you. The soft chime announced her arrival at Meridian Financial's executive floor, where Daniel Chen had spent the last 8 years climbing the corporate ladder with methodical determination. Maya stepped into the marble-appointed lobby, her heels clicking against the polished surface as she approached the reception desk. The young woman behind the counter looked up with practiced professional courtesy, scanning Maya's visitor badge with barely concealed curiosity. "Miss Chen for the 10:30 stakeholder meeting?" Maya announced, her voice carrying just the right blend of confidence and deference. She had rehearsed this moment countless times, knowing that every detail mattered in the theater she was about to orchestrate. "Of course, Miss Chen. Conference room A is just down the hall. Can I offer you coffee or ware while you wait?" The receptionist's tone remained polite, though Maya caught the subtle assessment in her eyes. External consultants were common enough in this building, but something about Maya's presence seemed to command more attention than the typical temporary visitor. "Coffee would be perfect, thank you." Maya accepted the offer, buying herself a few more minutes to observe the ecosystem her brother had inhabited for nearly a decade. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows that lined the corridor, she could see into the open workspace where dozens of analysts and associates bent over their screens, their movements synchronized in the familiar dance of corporate productivity. She recognized several faces from Daniel's social media posts over the years, though none of them would recognize her. Why would they? To Daniel's colleagues, Maya Chen was nothing more than his younger sister who ran some kind of craft business from her apartment, a detail he mentioned only when pressed about family, and even then with barely concealed embarrassment. The irony was delicious. In 3 hours, these same people would learn that Maya's little craft business had generated $47 million in revenue last year and was now in the process of acquiring their entire risk assessment division, along with 2 satellite departments, as part of a strategic expansion into financial services consulting. Maya settled into one of the leather chairs outside Conference Room A and opened her tablet, pulling up the acquisition documents she had been perfecting for months. The legal team at Chen Dynamics had outdone themselves, crafting a deal structure that was both generous enough to ensure regulatory approval and comprehensive enough to give Maya complete operational control over the departments she was acquiring, Daniel's department among them. The memory of last Thanksgiving dinner surfaced unbidden, as clear and sharp as if it had happened yesterday instead of 11 months ago. Maya could still feel the heat of humiliation that had crept up her neck as Daniel's voice carried across their mother's dining room, addressing their assembled relatives with the patronizing tone he had perfected during his MBA program. "Maya's little hobby is doing well," he had announced, gesturing vaguely in her direction while their Uncle Robert inquired about her business. "She makes these artisanal soaps and candles, sells them online. It's cute, really. Very entrepreneurial for someone who never finished business school." The dismissal in his voice had been casual, almost absent-minded, which somehow made it worse than if he had been deliberately cruel. He genuinely believed that her work was insignificant, a passing phase that would eventually give way to what he considered a real career. Maya had tried to correct him, to explain that Chen Dynamics had evolved far beyond handmade products and now operated a sophisticated e-commerce platform serving over 200,000 customers across North America, but Daniel had already moved on to discussing his recent promotion to Senior Risk Assessment Manager. "The financial services industry is where the real action is," he had continued, warming to his favorite subject. "You need serious analytical skills, deep market knowledge. It's not something you can just learn from YouTube tutorials." The comment had drawn chuckles from several cousins, though Maya noticed her mother's disapproving frown. That night, lying in her childhood bedroom, while the rest of the family slept off their turkey-induced comas, Maya had opened her laptop and begun researching Meridian Financial's corporate structure. What she discovered was a company ripe for disruption, struggling with outdated risk assessment models and hemorrhaging talent to more innovative firms. More importantly, she learned that Meridian's parent company, Wellington Holdings, was actively seeking to divest several underperforming divisions. The plan had crystallized over the following weeks. Chen Dynamics would pivot into B2B consulting services, leveraging the data analytics infrastructure Maya had built for her e-commerce platform. The financial services sector, despite Daniel's arrogant assertions about its complexity, operated on surprisingly similar principles to retail consumer analysis. Pattern recognition, risk assessment, predictive modeling, these were skills Maya had been honing for years while building her supposedly trivial online business. "Miss Chen?" The receptionist's voice interrupted her reverie. "Mr. Wellington will see you now."
Maya closed her tablet and stood, smoothing her charcoal gray suit jacket. Robert Wellington III, Meridian's CEO and heir to the Wellington Holdings empire, had been surprisingly receptive when Maya's team first approached him about the acquisition. The initial meeting 3 months ago had lasted 4 hours, with Wellington growing visibly excited as Maya outlined her vision for modernizing Meridian's approach to risk assessment. "You're proposing to revolutionize how we think about financial modeling," Wellington had said, leaning forward across his mahogany desk. "The integration of consumer behavior analytics with traditional risk metrics, I've never seen anything like it." Maya had smiled politely, refraining from mentioning that she had been using similar methodologies to predict customer purchasing patterns for years. The techniques that seemed revolutionary in the context of financial services were simply advanced retail analytics applied to a different dataset. Now, walking toward Wellington's corner office, Maya felt the familiar rush of anticipation that preceded any major business presentation. The difference was that today's presentation would conclude with her brother discovering that his dismissive little sister was about to become his new boss. Wellington's office occupied the entire northwest corner of the 32nd floor, its windows offering panoramic views of the city skyline. The man himself stood silhouetted against the glass, his tall frame commanding even when motionless. He turned as Maya entered, his expression warming with genuine enthusiasm. "Maya, excellent to see you again. I trust everything is in order for the announcement?" Wellington moved to his desk, where 3 neat stacks of documents awaited his signature. The acquisition contracts, transfer papers, and employee notification protocols that would officially transform 3 departments of Meridian Financial into subsidiaries of Chen Dynamics. "Everything is ready, Mr. Wellington. My legal team completed the final reviews yesterday, and the integration timeline is approved by both boards." Maya set her tablet on the conference table that dominated the center of his office, pulling up the presentation she would deliver to the affected employees in less than 2 hours. Wellington nodded approvingly as he reviewed the documents. "I must say, your approach to this acquisition has been refreshingly straightforward. No unnecessary drama, no hostile takeover tactics, just solid business strategy executed with precision." Maya appreciated the compliment, though she suspected Wellington's opinion might shift if he knew about the personal dynamics at play. She had been scrupulously honest about her family connection to Daniel during the due diligence process, disclosing the relationship to both Wellington and her own board of directors. The consensus had been that Daniel's employment at Meridian was irrelevant to the business merits of the acquisition, a conclusion that Maya had reached months earlier. "The transition plan accounts for all current employees," Maya said, opening her presentation to the staffing overview. "We anticipate minimal disruption to ongoing projects, and the salary adjustments will be implemented within 60 days. Wellington's eyebrows rose slightly. "Salary adjustments?" "Across-the-board increases averaging 18%, Maya clarified. Our research indicates that Meridian's compensation packages are below market rate for comparable positions. Chen Dynamics believes in paying for talent." The CEO's expression shifted to one of frank admiration. "You're planning to give raises to employees you're acquiring? That's quite generous." Maya had debated this decision extensively with her CFO and board members. The salary increases would cost Chen Dynamics approximately $2.4 million annually, a significant expense that wasn't strictly necessary from a legal or operational standpoint. But Maya understood something about motivation that Daniel and his colleagues had apparently missed. People perform better when they feel valued. It's an investment in productivity. Employee satisfaction correlates directly with performance metrics. The cost of the raises will be offset by increased efficiency and reduced turnover within 18 months. Wellington signed the final document with a flourish, officially completing the acquisition. I have to admit, Maya, when your team first approached us about this deal, I was skeptical. A consumer products company expanding into financial services consulting seemed like a significant leap, but your track record speaks for itself. Maya nodded, thinking about the journey that had brought her to this moment. Chen Dynamics had started in her college dorm room with a simple observation. Existing e-commerce platforms were terrible at predicting what customers actually wanted to buy. The handmade soaps and candles that Daniel dismissed as a hobby had been merely the vehicle for testing her predictive algorithms and customer analysis models. By her third year of operation, Maya was generating more revenue from licensing her analytical software to other businesses than from selling physical products. The transition to full-scale B2B consulting had been a natural evolution, driven by demand from clients who wanted to understand not just what their customers bought, but why they bought it and what they might buy next. The announcement is scheduled for 11:15, Wellington continued, glancing at his watch.
That gives us 45 minutes to brief the department heads. I assume you'll want to speak with them before the general employee meeting? Maya had specifically requested this preliminary session with the affected managers. It would give her a chance to establish the new hierarchy and address any concerns before the broader announcement. More importantly, it would allow her to observe Daniel's reaction in a more controlled environment. That would be perfect. I'd like to review the integration timeline with them and answer any immediate questions about the transition process. Wellington pressed a button on his desk phone, summoning his assistant. Please ask the heads of risk assessment, compliance analytics, and market research to join us in conference room A. Let them know this is regarding the 10:30 stakeholder meeting. As they gathered their materials and prepared to move to the conference room, Maya reflected on the transformation her life had undergone since that humiliating Thanksgiving dinner. The young woman who had sat silently while her brother dismissed her accomplishments was gone, replaced by someone who commanded respect in boardrooms and generated 8-figure revenue streams. The irony wasn't lost on her that Daniel's arrogance had been the catalyst for this moment. If he had simply acknowledged her success at dinner, Maya might never have researched Meridian Financial or discovered the acquisition opportunity. His dismissive attitude had driven her to prove him wrong in the most comprehensive way possible. Conference room A buzzed with nervous energy as Maya and Wellington entered. 3 department heads sat around the polished oak table, their expressions carefully neutral as they tried to interpret the significance of this unexpected meeting. Maya recognized 2 of them from Daniel's LinkedIn connections, Jennifer Walsh from Compliance Analytics and Marcus Rodriguez from Market Research. The third person, presumably Daniel's supervisor in risk assessment, was a woman Maya didn't recognize. "Good morning, everyone," Wellington began, his tone professionally cheerful. "I'd like you to meet Maya Chen, CEO of Chen Dynamics. Maya, these are the department heads for the divisions we discussed." Maya shook hands with each manager, noting their varying degrees of curiosity and concern. Jennifer Walsh seemed particularly interested, studying Maya with the analytical intensity of someone trying to solve a puzzle. Marcus Rodriguez appeared more cautious, his handshake brief and his smile reserved. As you know, Meridian has been exploring strategic partnerships to enhance our analytical capabilities. I'm pleased to announce that we finalized an acquisition agreement with Chen Dynamics effective immediately. The reaction was immediate and varied. Jennifer leaned forward with obvious interest, while Marcus shifted uncomfortably in his chair. The third manager, who introduced herself as Patricia Santos, maintained her composure, but Maya caught the slight tightening around her eyes. "Your departments will be transitioning to Chen Dynamics over the next 90 days, Maya explained, opening her tablet to display the transition timeline.
We're committed to maintaining all current projects and ensuring minimal disruption to your team's workflows. What exactly does Chen Dynamics do? Patricia asked, her tone carefully neutral. I'm not familiar with your company's work in financial services. Maya had anticipated this question and prepared a comprehensive answer that would establish her credibility without revealing the full scope of her background. Chen Dynamics specializes in predictive analytics and consumer behavior modeling. We've been expanding into B2B consulting over the past 2 years with particular focus on risk assessment and market analysis. She clicked to the next slide, which displayed an impressive array of client logos and performance metrics. Our algorithms have consistently outperformed traditional models in predicting market trends and consumer behavior patterns. We believe these same methodologies can revolutionize how financial services companies approach risk assessment. Jennifer's expression brightened with recognition. The Chen Algorithm Suite. I've read about your work in the Journal of Business Analytics. The predictive accuracy rates you achieved were remarkable. Maya smiled, pleased that at least one of the managers had done her homework. We're excited to apply those methodologies to financial services consulting. The acquisition allows us to expand our capabilities while providing your teams with enhanced analytical tools and resources. What about staffing changes? Marcus asked, his concern evident. Will there be layoffs? Quite the opposite, Maya replied, clicking to the compensation overview slide. We're planning across-the-board salary increases averaging 18%, along with enhanced benefits packages and professional development opportunities. The mood in the room shifted noticeably as the 3 managers processed this unexpected news.
Patricia's guarded expression gave way to cautious optimism, while Jennifer's smile became genuinely enthusiastic. When will these changes take effect? Patricia inquired, leaning forward to study the timeline displayed on Maya's tablet. Salary adjustments will be implemented within 60 days, Maya confirmed. The benefits enhancement will begin immediately, and we're planning a comprehensive professional development program starting next quarter. Wellington observed the exchange with evident satisfaction, occasionally interjecting to clarify administrative details about the transition. Maya found herself genuinely enjoying the discussion as the 3 managers began asking more detailed questions about Chen Dynamics' methodologies and expansion plans. I'd like to schedule individual meetings with each of you over the next week, Maya said as the session drew to a close. We'll review your current projects and discuss how our resources can enhance your team's capabilities. As the managers gathered their materials and prepared to leave, Patricia hesitated near the door. Miss Chen, I should mention that one of my senior analysts is also named Chen. Daniel Chen? Any relation? Maya maintained her composure, though she felt a familiar flutter of anticipation in her chest. Daniel is my brother. I disclosed the family connection during the acquisition process, of course. Patricia's expression shifted to one of surprised interest. Daniel's spoken about his sister's business, but I had no idea it was Chen Dynamics. He'll be quite surprised to learn about the acquisition. I imagine he will be, Maya replied evenly. I'm looking forward to working with him in a professional capacity. After the managers departed, Wellington turned to Maya with obvious amusement. You didn't mention that your brother works in one of the departments you're acquiring. That adds an interesting dynamic to the situation. Maya appreciated Wellington's directness. Throughout the acquisition process, she had been careful to maintain absolute transparency about her motivations and potential conflicts of interest. Daniel doesn't know about the acquisition yet. Our family relationships have been somewhat strained, and I wanted to handle this situation with complete professionalism. I'm sure you will, though I suspect today will be quite memorable for both of you. They spent the remaining 20 minutes reviewing the employee announcement protocol and finalizing the administrative details that would officially transfer 3 departments to Chen Dynamics. Maya found herself checking the clock repeatedly, counting down the minutes until the general meeting that would reveal her new role to Daniel and his colleagues. At 11:10, Wellington's assistant knocked on the conference room door. Mr. Wellington, the employees are assembled in the main conference room. They're ready for your announcement. Maya gathered her materials and followed Wellington down the corridor toward the large conference room where nearly 60 employees had been hastily summoned for an important company announcement. Through the glass walls, she could see clusters of analysts and associates speculating about the purpose of the meeting, their conversations animated with curiosity and concern. She spotted Daniel immediately, seated in the third row with two colleagues she recognized from his social media posts. He appeared relaxed, even bored, clearly assuming this was another routine corporate announcement about policy changes or quarterly results. Maya watched him check his phone and whisper something to the person beside him, his body language radiating the casual confidence of someone who believed he understood how his world worked. The transformation about to unfold would challenge that assumption in ways Daniel couldn't begin to imagine. Maya had spent 11 months planning this moment, building the business case, assembling the resources, and positioning herself to demonstrate exactly how much he had underestimated her supposedly trivial hobby business. As she followed Wellington into the conference room, Maya felt the weight of every condescending comment, every dismissive gesture, every moment when Daniel had treated her accomplishments as amusing diversions rather than serious business achievements. Today, those accumulated slights would be transformed into something far more powerful, the foundation for a new chapter where Maya's success spoke louder than Daniel's assumptions ever could. The room fell silent as Wellington approached the podium, and Maya took her position at the side of the room where she could observe the audience's reactions while remaining partially obscured from Daniel's view. In less than 5 minutes, her brother would discover that his little sister's hobby business had just become his new professional reality. Wellington cleared his throat and began the announcement that would change everything. 6 months after the acquisition, Maya stood in the newly renovated collaborative workspace that had replaced the rigid cubicle farm where Daniel once worked in isolation. The transformation was visible in every corner of the floor, from the glass-walled conference rooms that encouraged transparency to the comfortable seating areas where cross-functional teams gathered for impromptu brainstorming sessions. The atmosphere buzzed with productive energy that would have been unimaginable under Meridian's previous hierarchical structure. Chen Dynamics had exceeded every performance metric Maya had projected during the acquisition planning process.
Preparing and narrating this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now back to the story. Client satisfaction scores had risen by 41% as the integrated teams delivered more sophisticated analytical solutions than either organization could have produced independently. Employee retention had improved dramatically, with voluntary turnover dropping to less than 3%, compared to the industry average of 18%. Most significantly, the revenue generated by the acquired departments had increased by 67%, as enhanced capabilities attracted premium clients seeking cutting-edge risk assessment services. Daniel approached her near the central workstation, where the latest quarterly results were displayed on a large monitor. His transformation over the past 6 months had been among the most dramatic changes Maya had witnessed, though she recognized that sustainable behavioral modification required consistent reinforcement rather than momentary inspiration. Maya, do you have a moment to review the Patterson Industries proposal? Daniel asked, holding a tablet that contained the collaborative analysis his team had developed over the previous 3 weeks. His tone carried none of the defensive posturing that had characterized their early professional interactions, replaced instead by the confident competence of someone who had learned to value collective achievement over individual recognition. Maya accepted the tablet and scrolled through the comprehensive risk assessment that integrated traditional financial modeling with consumer behavior analysis and market psychology factors. The sophistication of the approach reflected the interdisciplinary collaboration that had become standard practice under Chen Dynamics' operational philosophy. "This is impressive work," Maya said, noting the seamless integration of multiple analytical methodologies. The consumer sentiment correlation with market volatility predictions shows particular innovation. Whose insight drove that connection? Daniel's response revealed how completely his perspective on professional collaboration had evolved. Jennifer identified the regulatory patterns that suggested consumer psychology was influencing market behavior more than traditional models predicted. Marcus provided the consumer research framework, and I developed the statistical integration methodology. The final approach emerged from combining all 3 perspectives. Maya recognized the significance of Daniel's answer, which focused on team contributions rather than his own role in the solution. 6 months earlier, he would have presented the same analysis as his individual accomplishment while minimizing his colleagues' contributions. This shift represented fundamental growth in his understanding of effective leadership and professional success.
Have you considered presenting this methodology at the Financial Analytics Conference next quarter? Maya asked, referring to the industry's premier forum for innovative risk assessment approaches. Chen Dynamics has been invited to deliver a keynote presentation, and this work would demonstrate our collaborative capabilities effectively. Daniel's expression showed both excitement and nervous uncertainty about such a high-profile opportunity. Would the presentation be delivered by the entire team, or would you want one person to represent the work? Maya smiled at his instinctive assumption that collaborative work should be presented collaboratively. I think the three of you should deliver the presentation together. The audience would benefit from understanding how interdisciplinary collaboration generates superior analytical outcomes. The conversation was interrupted by Jennifer Walsh, who approached with obvious enthusiasm about the team's latest breakthrough. Her professional development under Chen Dynamics mentorship programs had been remarkable, transforming her from a competent compliance specialist into a sophisticated analyst capable of identifying regulatory trends that traditional approaches consistently missed. Maya, we just received preliminary feedback from Patterson Industries about our proposal, Jennifer reported, barely containing her excitement. They're interested in expanding the engagement to include their entire portfolio of subsidiary companies. The potential contract value would be over $8 million. Maya felt genuine satisfaction at this news, not only because of the financial implications, but because it validated the collaborative methodologies that Chen Dynamics had implemented throughout the acquired departments. Traditional competitive approaches would never have generated the innovative insights that made such premium engagements possible. That's outstanding news, Maya replied. Have you begun developing the expanded project scope? Marcus is coordinating with their executive team to understand the subsidiary portfolio structure. Jennifer is working on scaling our analytical models to handle the increased data complexity. We should have a comprehensive proposal ready for review by Friday. Maya observed the easy collaboration between her former brother's colleagues, noting how naturally they had adapted to shared decision-making and collective problem-solving. The toxic competitive culture that had previously characterized Meridian's operations had been completely replaced by an environment where individual success was measured by contributions to team achievements. Excellent progress, Maya said. Keep me updated on any resource needs or technical challenges that emerge during the scaling process. As Jennifer returned to her workstation, Daniel lingered to discuss a more personal matter that had been weighing on his mind since their family's recent holiday gathering. Maya had been curious about how their professional relationship would affect family dynamics, though she had been careful to maintain appropriate boundaries between their work interactions and personal connections. I wanted to thank you for how you handled Thanksgiving dinner last week, Daniel said, his voice carrying a sincerity that Maya had rarely heard from him during their childhood interactions. When Uncle Robert asked about my career, you could have made me look foolish by emphasizing the role reversal. Instead, you focused on the team's accomplishments and my contributions to collaborative projects. Maya remembered the moment Daniel was referencing. Their uncle had inquired about professional updates during the traditional family sharing session, and Maya had chosen to describe the successful Patterson Industries engagement as an example of innovative analytical work, rather than highlighting her position as Daniel's supervisor. The choice had been instinctive rather than calculated, reflecting her genuine respect for the professional growth he had demonstrated over the previous months. Your work deserves recognition based on its merits.
Family gatherings aren't appropriate venues for workplace hierarchy discussions. Daniel nodded gratefully, though Maya sensed he had additional thoughts about their evolving relationship that he was still processing. The reversal of their traditional family roles had required adjustment from both of them, as Maya learned to exercise authority without vindictiveness, while Daniel adapted to accepting guidance from someone he had previously dismissed. I've been thinking about our conversation after the acquisition announcement, Daniel continued, when you said you tried to explain Chen Dynamics' expansion at previous family gatherings, but I wasn't interested in the details. I realize now that I wasn't just uninterested, I was actively dismissive because I assumed your business couldn't be as sophisticated as traditional corporate operations. Maya appreciated his honesty about the psychological dynamics that had contributed to their professional misunderstanding. Daniel's assumptions about business legitimacy had been shaped by conventional corporate hierarchies and academic credentials, rather than practical performance metrics. His dismissive attitude had reflected broader cultural biases about entrepreneurial ventures and non-traditional career paths. Many people struggle to recognize innovative business models when they don't fit familiar patterns, Maya said diplomatically. The important thing is learning to evaluate success based on actual results, rather than preconceived assumptions. Their conversation was interrupted by the arrival of Wellington, who had scheduled a quarterly review meeting to assess the acquisition's progress and discuss expansion opportunities. Maya had been anticipating this session as an opportunity to demonstrate how completely the integration had succeeded in transforming both organizational culture and financial performance. Maya, Daniel, perfect timing, Wellington said as he approached their workstation. I just finished reviewing the latest client satisfaction surveys, and the results are remarkable. Chen Dynamics has achieved satisfaction scores that exceed our best previous performance by 37%. Maya gestured toward the collaborative workspace around them, where teams of analysts work together on sophisticated projects that would have been impossible under Meridian's previous structure. The improved results reflect our employees' enhanced capabilities when they have access to appropriate tools and collaborative support systems. Wellington nodded approvingly as he observed the productive atmosphere that characterized the integrated departments. The board is extremely pleased with the acquisition outcomes. We're receiving inquiries from other financial services companies about licensing Chen Dynamics' collaborative methodologies for their own operations. This news represented an unexpected opportunity for further expansion that Maya had not anticipated during her original acquisition planning. The success of the Meridian integration had apparently generated industry interest in Chen Dynamics' approach to organizational transformation and analytical innovation. Would Chen Dynamics be interested in developing consulting services for organizational transformation projects? Wellington asked. Several Wellington Holdings subsidiaries have expressed interest in implementing similar collaborative frameworks within their operations. Maya considered the implications of expanding into organizational consulting while maintaining the company's core focus on analytical services. The dual expansion would require significant additional resources, but could position Chen Dynamics as a comprehensive solution provider for companies seeking both analytical capabilities and cultural transformation. That's an intriguing possibility, Maya replied. We would need to develop specialized expertise in change management and organizational psychology to complement our analytical capabilities. Daniel's expression showed obvious interest in this potential expansion, though Maya noticed him waiting for explicit invitation before contributing to the strategic discussion. His restraint reflected the professional maturity he had developed through his experience with collaborative decision-making processes. Daniel, what's your assessment of the challenges involved in scaling our collaborative methodologies to other organizational contexts? Maya asked, genuinely interested in his perspective on the implementation complexities. Daniel considered the question carefully before responding, demonstrating the analytical rigor that had always been his greatest professional strength. The technical aspects of analytical integration would be relatively straightforward to replicate, but the cultural transformation components would require careful customization for each organization's existing dynamics. His analysis continued with insights about change management strategies and employee resistance patterns that reflected sophisticated understanding of organizational psychology. Maya realized that Daniel's experience navigating his own professional transformation had given him valuable perspective on the challenges other employees might face during similar transitions. Those are excellent observations, Wellington said approvingly. Would you be interested in leading a pilot project to develop organizational transformation consulting services? The position would involve significant travel and client interaction, but it could accelerate your professional development considerably. Maya watched Daniel process this unexpected opportunity with obvious excitement, tempered by awareness of the additional responsibilities it would entail. The offer represented a significant advancement in his career trajectory while utilizing the collaborative leadership skills he had developed during the departmental integration.
I would be very interested in that opportunity, Daniel replied, though I would want to ensure continuity for my current project commitments and maintain collaboration with Jennifer and Marcus on ongoing analytical development. His response demonstrated the collaborative mindset that had replaced his previous competitive approach to professional advancement. Rather than viewing the new opportunity as an escape from current responsibilities, Daniel was considering how to maintain team relationships while expanding his individual capabilities. "We can certainly structure the role to accommodate your existing commitments," Wellington assured him. Maya, what are your thoughts about Daniel taking on this expanded responsibility? Maya felt genuine pride in Daniel's professional development as she considered Wellington's question. The transformation from dismissive competitor to collaborative leader had exceeded her expectations and suggested that he was ready for increased responsibilities that would benefit both his career and Chen Dynamics' expansion objectives. I think Daniel's experience with organizational transformation makes him an ideal candidate for developing our consultant capabilities. His analytical background, combined with his understanding of collaborative methodologies, would provide valuable credibility with potential clients.
The remainder of their meeting focused on practical details about the organizational consulting expansion and Daniel's transition to his new role. Maya found herself reflecting on how completely their professional relationship had evolved from the competitive dynamic that had characterized their family interactions to genuine mutual respect based on shared commitment to analytical excellence. Over the following months, Daniel's work developing organizational transformation consulting services proved remarkably successful. His ability to relate to the challenges faced by employees adapting to collaborative frameworks was enhanced by his personal experience with similar transitions. Client feedback consistently praised his empathetic approach to change management and his practical insights about implementing analytical methodologies within traditional corporate structures. Maya watched Daniel's continued professional growth with satisfaction that had entirely replaced the vindictive pleasure she had initially anticipated from demonstrating his misjudgment about her business capabilities. The success of Chen Dynamics' expansion into organizational consulting validated her decision to focus on transforming, rather than simply defeating the attitudes that had prompted his dismissive comments at family gatherings. The annual shareholders meeting for Wellington Holdings provided an opportunity for Maya to present the comprehensive results of the Meridian acquisition and the subsequent expansion into organizational transformation consulting. The presentation highlighted not only the financial success of the integration, but also the innovative methodologies that had made such remarkable results possible. Chen Dynamics has demonstrated that collaborative organizational cultures can generate analytical insights that exceed traditional competitive approaches by significant margins, Maya told the assembled shareholders and industry representatives. Our integrated teams consistently outperform isolated specialists because collective intelligence amplifies individual expertise rather than simply aggregating separate contributions. From her position at the podium, Maya could see Daniel in the audience, taking notes about her presentation with the same analytical focus he brought to client engagements. His professional development had transformed him into someone whose insights she genuinely valued, despite their complicated personal history and the competitive family dynamics that had initially motivated her interest in acquiring his department. During the reception following her presentation, Maya was approached by several industry leaders expressing interest in Chen Dynamics' collaborative methodologies and organizational transformation services. The conversations confirmed that the company's expansion strategy was attracting attention from potential clients who recognized the limitations of traditional hierarchical structures. "Ms. Chen, your approach to analytical collaboration represents a significant innovation in our industry," said Margaret Foster, CEO of Cascade Financial Group. "We've been struggling with similar challenges regarding interdepartmental communication and would be interested in discussing consulting services for our organization." Maya exchanged business cards with Margaret while mentally calculating the potential scope of such an engagement. Cascade Financial was significantly larger than Meridian, with operations spanning multiple geographic regions and service lines. The consulting project would require extensive resources and sophisticated customization of Chen Dynamics methodologies. "I'd be happy to schedule a preliminary assessment meeting," Maya replied. "Our organizational transformation specialist could conduct an initial evaluation of your current collaborative frameworks and identify opportunities for enhancement."
She was referring to Daniel, whose expertise in change management had become invaluable for evaluating potential consulting clients and developing customized implementation strategies. His ability to understand both traditional corporate cultures and collaborative alternatives had proven essential for successful transformation projects. Later that evening, as the reception concluded and industry representatives departed with Chen Dynamics' contact information and service descriptions, Maya found herself reflecting on the unexpected directions her career had taken since that humiliating Thanksgiving dinner 21 months earlier. The vindication she had sought through demonstrating Daniel's misjudgment about her business capabilities had evolved into something far more meaningful: the satisfaction of building an organization that enhanced rather than diminished the capabilities of everyone it touched. Daniel approached her as she gathered her presentation materials and prepared to leave the conference venue. His expression carried the thoughtful seriousness that had become characteristic of his professional demeanor since joining Chen Dynamics' collaborative culture. Maya, I wanted to tell you that watching your presentation tonight made me realize how much I've learned about leadership by observing your approach to building collaborative teams. The transformation consulting work has been incredibly rewarding, but I recognize that it built on the foundation you established through Chen Dynamics' organizational culture. Maya appreciated his acknowledgement of her leadership role, though she was more interested in his continued professional development than in receiving recognition for past achievements. Your success with transformation consulting reflects your own growth and analytical capabilities. The collaborative framework simply provided an environment where those skills could flourish. I've been thinking about our family dynamics and how they influenced my initial dismissal of your business accomplishments. I realize now that my assumptions about legitimate entrepreneurship were shaped by conventional academic and corporate hierarchies rather than practical performance metrics. Their conversation was interrupted by the arrival of Jennifer Walsh and Marcus Rodriguez, who had attended the shareholders' meeting to observe Maya's presentation and network with potential clients for their analytical services. The three former Meridian employees had developed an effective collaborative team whose combined capabilities exceeded what any of them could have achieved individually. Maya, we just spoke with representatives from 3 companies interested in analytical consulting services. The demand for sophisticated risk assessment methodologies appears to be expanding rapidly across the financial services industry. Marcus nodded in agreement while consulting his tablet for specific details about the potential client conversations. 2 of them specifically mentioned interest in the consumer behavior integration approaches that Daniel's team developed for the Patterson Industries engagement. Our collaborative methodologies are apparently generating significant industry attention. Maya felt genuine satisfaction at this validation of Chen Dynamics' analytical innovations and collaborative culture. The success of the Meridian acquisition had exceeded her most optimistic projections, while demonstrating that transformative leadership could generate positive outcomes for everyone involved, rather than simply redistributing existing power relationships. That's excellent news. Have you begun discussing potential project scopes and implementation timelines with these prospective clients? The conversation that followed focused on practical details about expanding Chen Dynamics' client base and managing the resource requirements for multiple simultaneous engagements. Maya found herself relying on input from Daniel, Jennifer, and Marcus to evaluate the feasibility of various expansion scenarios, recognizing that their collaborative expertise had become essential for strategic decision-making. As the evening concluded and they prepared to return to their respective homes, Maya reflected on how completely her relationship with Daniel had been transformed through their shared professional experiences. The competitive family dynamic that had motivated her initial interest in acquiring his department had been replaced by genuine mutual respect based on collaborative achievement and shared commitment to analytical excellence. 2 years after the acquisition that had begun as an elaborate demonstration of Daniel's misjudgment about her business capabilities, Maya stood before the International Conference on Financial Innovation to deliver the keynote presentation about collaborative analytical methodologies. Chen Dynamics had become recognized as an industry leader in both sophisticated risk assessment services and organizational transformation consulting.
The company now employed over 300 people across multiple offices, with Daniel serving as Director of Organizational Development and leading transformation projects for some of the industry's most prestigious firms. His professional growth had been remarkable, though Maya recognized that sustainable change required consistent reinforcement of collaborative principles rather than momentary inspiration.
Traditional competitive corporate cultures limit analytical capabilities by preventing the cross-functional collaboration necessary for sophisticated risk assessment, Maya told the international audience of industry leaders and academic researchers. Chen Dynamics has demonstrated that collaborative frameworks can generate insights that exceed traditional approaches by significant margins while creating more satisfying professional environments for analytical specialists. From the podium, Maya could see Daniel on the front row, representing Chen Dynamics as an expert in organizational transformation and change management. His presence at industry conferences as a respected thought leader would have been unimaginable during his tenure at Meridian, where hierarchical limitations had prevented him from developing his full potential. The presentation concluded with extensive questions from audience members seeking specific information about implementing collaborative methodologies within their own organizations. Maya fielded inquiries about change management strategies, technology integration requirements, and performance measurement techniques with the confidence of someone whose theoretical insights had been validated through practical implementation. During the networking reception following her keynote, Maya was approached by academic researchers interested in studying Chen Dynamics' collaborative culture as a case study in organizational innovation. The conversations confirmed that the company's transformation of traditional corporate hierarchies was attracting scholarly attention beyond the immediate financial services industry. Professor Chen, would Chen Dynamics be interested in participating in a longitudinal study of collaborative organizational development? Asked Dr. Sarah Kim from the Harvard Business School. Your approach to integrating analytical specialization with cross-functional collaboration represents a significant innovation in management theory. Maya noted with amusement that Dr. Kim had addressed her with an academic title she had never held, reflecting assumptions about the educational credentials necessary for developing sophisticated business methodologies. The irony wasn't lost on her that Daniel's original dismissal of her entrepreneurial accomplishments had been based on similar assumptions about the legitimacy of non-traditional career paths. Chen Dynamics would be happy to participate in academic research that advances understanding of collaborative organizational structures, Maya replied. Our experience suggests that traditional hierarchical models significantly underutilize employee capabilities and analytical potential. Later that evening, as she returned to her hotel room after the conference reception, Maya received a text message from Daniel expressing appreciation for her keynote presentation and its impact on the audience's understanding of collaborative methodologies. His message reflected the professional respect that had replaced their previous competitive family dynamic. Your presentation tonight was inspiring, Daniel's text read. Watching you explain collaborative leadership principles to industry leaders made me realize how much my own professional development has benefited from Chen Dynamics' organizational culture. Thank you for creating an environment where analytical capabilities can flourish through teamwork rather than competition. Maya smiled at his message while reflecting on the unexpected directions her career had taken since that painful Thanksgiving dinner where Daniel had dismissed her business as a cute hobby. The vindication she had initially sought through demonstrating his misjudgment had evolved into something far more meaningful, the satisfaction of building an organization that enhanced rather than diminished everyone it touched. The following morning brought news that Cascade Financial Group had signed a comprehensive consulting contract worth over $15 million for organizational transformation services. Daniel would be leading the 18-month engagement, supported by teams of analytical specialists and change management experts whose collaborative expertise had become Chen Dynamics' distinctive competitive advantage. As Maya reviewed the contract details and implementation timeline, she realized that her brother's professional transformation had become one of Chen Dynamics' greatest success stories. The dismissive competitor who had once minimized her entrepreneurial accomplishments had evolved into a collaborative leader whose expertise was sought by major corporations seeking to enhance their analytical capabilities. The vindication was complete, though it had taken forms Maya had never anticipated during those early months of acquisition planning. Rather than simply proving Daniel wrong about her business capabilities, she had created an environment where his own professional potential could flourish in ways that would have been impossible under traditional competitive corporate structures. Chen Dynamics continued to grow and innovate, developing new analytical methodologies and organizational transformation approaches that attracted clients from across multiple industries. Maya's hobby business had indeed become something that commanded respect in corporate boardrooms worldwide, though the greatest satisfaction came not from proving skeptics wrong, but from building something that made everyone involved more capable and successful than they could have been individually.
3 years after the acquisition that transformed both their lives, Maya stood at the floor-to-ceiling windows of Chen Dynamics' new headquarters, watching the sun set over a city skyline that had become symbolic of her journey from dismissed entrepreneur to industry revolutionary. The building's 38th floor housed the executive offices of what was now recognized as the premier organizational transformation consultancy in North America, with satellite offices in London, Singapore, and Sydney, serving a global clientele hungry for collaborative innovation. The numbers told one story of Chen Dynamics' meteoric rise. Annual revenue had grown from $47 to over $360 million. The company employed over 1,500 people across 4 continents. Client satisfaction scores consistently exceeded 95%, while employee retention rates remained the industry's highest at 98%. These metrics impressed investors and analysts, but Maya understood that the true measure of success lay in the human transformations that those numbers represented. Daniel's office occupied the corner suite adjacent to hers, its glass walls offering transparency that symbolized the collaborative culture they had built together. As Director of Global Organizational Development, he now commanded respect at industry conferences where his insights into change management were sought by executives from Fortune 500 companies. The transformation from dismissive brother to valued colleague had been complete, though Maya recognized that sustainable change required ongoing commitment rather than momentary revelation. "Maya, the board is assembled for the strategic planning session," announced Elena Vasquez, Chen Dynamics' COO, as she entered with an armload of quarterly reports and expansion proposals. Elena had joined the company 18 months earlier from McKinsey & Company, drawn by Chen Dynamics' reputation for innovation and its unique approach to balancing profitability with employee development. Maya gathered her materials while reviewing the agenda that would shape Chen Dynamics' direction for the next 3 years. The board had requested a comprehensive assessment of expansion opportunities, including potential acquisitions, new service lines, and geographic market penetration strategies. The decisions made today would determine whether Chen Dynamics remained a specialized consultancy or evolved into a broader transformation platform. The boardroom buzzed with anticipatory energy as Maya entered to find 12 directors representing diverse backgrounds in technology, finance, organizational psychology, and international business. Wellington Holdings maintained a significant ownership stake through their initial investment, while venture capital firms and strategic partners had contributed additional funding for the company's aggressive expansion strategy. Before we discuss expansion opportunities, Maya began activating the wall-mounted displays that showed Chen Dynamics' performance metrics across multiple dimensions. "I want to ensure we're aligned on the fundamental principles that have driven our success. Our collaborative methodologies aren't simply business processes, they represent a philosophical commitment to enhancing human potential through organizational design."
Board member Dr. Patricia Hendricks, a renowned organizational psychologist from Stanford University, leaned forward with obvious interest. "Maya, your point about philosophical commitment raises important questions about scalability. Can Chen Dynamics' culture be maintained as the organization grows beyond its current size?" Maya had wrestled with this challenge extensively, recognizing that rapid growth could dilute the collaborative principles that differentiated Chen Dynamics from traditional consulting firms. The company's success had attracted acquisition offers from major corporations, seeking to purchase rather than develop similar capabilities. But Maya remained committed to organic growth that preserved their innovative culture. "Our experience with international expansion suggests that collaborative principles are universally applicable, though they require cultural adaptation for different markets," Maya replied, clicking to performance data from their overseas offices. The Singapore operation achieved client satisfaction scores of 97% within 12 months, while London exceeded revenue projections by 32% during their first year. Daniel entered the boardroom carrying tablets loaded with detailed analysis of potential expansion scenarios. His preparation for these strategic sessions had become legendary within the company, reflecting the analytical rigor that had always been his greatest strength, combined with collaborative leadership skills he had developed through Chen Dynamics mentorship programs. "I've completed the feasibility analysis for establishing operations in Frankfurt, Tokyo, and São Paulo," Daniel reported, distributing his research to the assembled directors.
Each market presents unique opportunities for organizational transformation services, though the implementation strategies would need significant customization for local business cultures. Maya watched with quiet satisfaction as Daniel presented his analysis with the confident competence that had replaced his previous competitive posturing. The board members asked probing questions about market dynamics, regulatory requirements, and staffing challenges, all of which Daniel addressed with sophisticated understanding that demonstrated his evolution into a strategic thinker capable of global perspective. The European market appears particularly promising, Daniel continued, advancing to detailed financial projections. German and Scandinavian companies are already implementing collaborative frameworks similar to our methodologies, suggesting strong cultural receptivity to our services. The potential revenue from establishing Frankfurt operations could exceed $40 million within 2 years. Board member James Morrison, representing Wellington Holdings investment interests, studied the projections with obvious approval. These numbers are conservative compared to our Asian expansion results. What factors are limiting your growth estimates for European markets? Daniel's response revealed the strategic caution that Maya had come to appreciate in his approach to business development. Rather than pursuing growth for its own sake, he had learned to evaluate expansion opportunities based on sustainable value creation and long-term organizational health. European regulatory environments are more complex than Asian markets, requiring additional compliance infrastructure and legal expertise, Daniel explained. Additionally, the competitive landscape includes several established consulting firms with strong regional relationships. Our expansion strategy prioritizes sustainable growth over rapid market penetration. Maya contributed additional context about their expansion philosophy, emphasizing the importance of maintaining quality standards while pursuing growth opportunities. Chen Dynamics' reputation has been built on delivering transformational results that exceed client expectations. Rapid expansion that compromises service quality would undermine the trust relationships that drive our success. The strategic discussion continued for over 3 hours as board members evaluated various expansion scenarios, acquisition targets, and service line extensions. Maya found herself energized by the complexity of the decisions facing Chen Dynamics, while remaining grounded in the collaborative principles that had guided every major choice since the company's founding. I'd like to propose a phased expansion approach that establishes European operations while simultaneously developing our digital transformation services, Maya said, synthesizing the morning's discussions into a coherent strategic framework. The two initiatives would be mutually reinforcing, as European clients are particularly interested in technology-enabled collaboration tools. The board approved Maya's proposal with enthusiasm that reflected their confidence in Chen Dynamics' leadership team and strategic vision. The decision to pursue measured growth rather than aggressive expansion demonstrated the mature business judgment that had consistently differentiated the company from competitors focused solely on revenue maximization. As the board meeting concluded, Maya reflected on how completely her perspective on success had evolved since that humiliating Thanksgiving dinner 4 years earlier. The vindication she had initially sought through demonstrating Daniel's misjudgment had transformed into something far more meaningful: the satisfaction of building an organization that enhanced rather than diminished everyone it touched. Over the following months, Chen Dynamics' European expansion proceeded with characteristic attention to detail and cultural sensitivity. Daniel relocated to Frankfurt to oversee the establishment of their continental headquarters, where his expertise in change management proved invaluable for navigating the complex regulatory environment and building relationships with potential clients. Maya remained in New York to manage domestic operations, while coordinating the international expansion through daily video conferences and monthly site visits. The separation allowed both siblings to demonstrate independent leadership capabilities, while maintaining the collaborative partnership that had become central to Chen Dynamics' identity. The Volkswagen engagement is exceeding all performance metrics, Daniel reported during our weekly strategy session, his image crisp on the high-definition screen connecting their offices across the Atlantic. Their manufacturing divisions have achieved productivity improvements of 23% since implementing our collaborative frameworks. The success has generated inquiries from BMW, Mercedes, and several other automotive companies. Maya felt genuine pride in Daniel's accomplishments as she reviewed the detailed performance data he had compiled.
The analytical skills that once had been constrained by competitive corporate culture were now generating innovations that benefited entire industries while advancing Chen Dynamics' reputation as the premier transformation consultancy. How are the cultural adaptation challenges progressing? Maya referred to the adjustments required for implementing collaborative methodologies within traditional German business hierarchies. Daniel's response demonstrated the sophisticated understanding of cross-cultural dynamics he had developed through his international leadership experience. German engineering culture actually embraces collaborative problem-solving more readily than American corporate environments in many ways. The challenge has been adapting our communication styles to match their preference for detailed technical analysis rather than high-level conceptual frameworks. Their conversation continued with discussion of staffing decisions, client development strategies, and technology infrastructure requirements for supporting the European expansion. Maya found herself relying increasingly on Daniel's judgment for strategic decisions affecting international operations, recognition of his evolution into a trusted business partner whose insights she genuinely valued. The success of Chen Dynamics' European operations attracted attention from academic researchers studying organizational innovation and transformation methodologies.
Harvard Business School, INSEAD, and the London School of Economics all requested permission to conduct case studies examining the company's collaborative culture and its impact on business performance. Dr. Rebecca Chen, a professor of organizational behavior at Wharton School, and no relation despite the shared surname, led a comprehensive research project documenting Chen Dynamics methodologies and their effectiveness across different cultural contexts. Her preliminary findings suggested that collaborative frameworks could generate superior results regardless of national business cultures, challenging conventional assumptions about management approaches. Chen Dynamics represents a paradigm shift in how we understand organizational effectiveness, Dr. Chen reported during a research symposium attended by executives from over 50 major corporations. Their ability to maintain collaborative culture while scaling globally demonstrates that humanistic business principles can coexist with aggressive growth strategies. Maya attended the symposium via video conference from her New York office, participating in panel discussions about the practical implementation of collaborative methodologies. The academic validation of Chen Dynamics' approach provided additional credibility for their expansion efforts while attracting talented professionals seeking alternatives to traditional corporate hierarchies. Professor Chen, what specific factors enable Chen Dynamics to maintain cultural consistency across multiple international markets? Asked Dr. Maria Santos, a researcher from the University of Sao Paulo who was studying organizational transformation in emerging economies. Maya appreciated the opportunity to articulate the philosophical foundations underlying Chen Dynamics' practical success. Our collaborative principles aren't culturally specific techniques. They represent universal human needs for meaningful work, respectful relationships, and opportunities for professional growth. The implementation details may vary across cultures, but the underlying commitment to enhancing human potential remains constant. The academic interest in Chen Dynamics' methodologies led to speaking engagements at business schools, industry conferences, and international forums focused on organizational innovation. Maya found herself traveling extensively to share insights about collaborative leadership while building relationships with potential clients and strategic partners. During a particularly memorable presentation at the London Business School, Maya was approached by Sir Richard Branson, whose Virgin Group had been investigating collaborative frameworks for their diverse portfolio of companies. The conversation that followed led to a consulting engagement worth over $60 million and established Chen Dynamics as Virgin's preferred partner for organizational transformation projects. Your approach to balancing human development with business performance aligns perfectly with Virgin's values, Sir Richard explained during their initial strategy session at Virgin's London headquarters. We've been searching for consultants who understand that employee satisfaction and financial success are mutually reinforcing rather than competing objectives. The Virgin engagement became a showcase for Chen Dynamics' capabilities, demonstrating how collaborative methodologies could be adapted for companies ranging from airlines to telecommunications to financial services. The diverse portfolio of Virgin companies provided opportunities to test collaborative frameworks across multiple industries while generating case studies that attracted additional clients. Maya's leadership of the Virgin Transformation Project required spending significant time in London, where she worked closely with Daniel to coordinate the complex implementation across dozens of subsidiary companies. Their professional partnership had evolved into seamless collaboration that leveraged their complementary strengths while maintaining appropriate boundaries between their business relationship and family connection. The Virgin Atlantic Cabin Crew Training Program has achieved remarkable results using our collaborative methodologies, Daniel reported during their monthly review session. Customer satisfaction scores have improved by 18%, while employee retention has increased by 24%. Sir Richard is considering expanding our engagement to include Virgin Galactic and Virgin Orbit. Maya reviewed the performance metrics with satisfaction that reflected both professional accomplishment and personal pride in Daniel's growth as a strategic leader. The transformation from dismissive brother to valued colleague had been complete, though she recognized that their relationship required ongoing attention to maintain the balance between family connection and business partnership. The success of Chen Dynamics' international expansion attracted acquisition interest from major consulting firms seeking to purchase rather than develop similar capabilities. McKinsey & Company, Boston Consulting Group, and Deloitte all submitted proposals for acquiring Chen Dynamics' operations, with offers ranging from $800 million to over $2 billion. Maya convened emergency board meetings to evaluate these unexpected acquisition opportunities while maintaining focus on Chen Dynamics' core mission of organizational transformation. The financial offers are substantial, acknowledged board member Morrison during their evaluation session, but Maya raises valid concerns about cultural integration challenges. Chen Dynamics' methodologies might not survive acquisition by firms operating under conventional hierarchical structures. Daniel participated in the acquisition discussions via video conference from Frankfurt, where his European operations had become essential to Chen Dynamics' global strategy. His perspective as someone who had experienced both traditional corporate culture and collaborative frameworks provided valuable insights about the risks of cultural dilution. The acquiring firms would likely attempt to systematize our collaborative methodologies into standardized processes, which would eliminate the adaptive flexibility that makes our approach effective. Our success depends on tailoring solutions to specific organizational contexts rather than implementing universal procedures. Maya appreciated Daniel's analysis, which demonstrated sophisticated understanding of the philosophical differences between Chen Dynamics' adaptive methodologies and traditional consulting approaches. His opposition to acquisition reflected genuine commitment to preserving the collaborative principles that had transformed his own professional development. After extensive deliberation, the board unanimously decided to reject all acquisition offers while pursuing an initial public offering that would provide liquidity for investors while maintaining operational independence. The decision to remain autonomous reflected Chen Dynamics' commitment to long-term value creation rather than short-term financial maximization. The IPO planning process required comprehensive documentation of Chen Dynamics' methodologies, financial performance, and growth strategies. Maya worked closely with investment bankers, SEC attorneys, and accounting firms to prepare the registration documents that would allow public investors to evaluate the company's potential. Chen Dynamics represents a unique investment opportunity in the organizational transformation sector, explained lead underwriter Margaret Foster during their roadshow presentation to institutional investors. Maya's presentations to potential investors focused on Chen Dynamics' sustainable competitive advantages and the growing market demand for organizational transformation services. The roadshow schedule included meetings with pension funds, sovereign wealth funds, and investment management firms representing over $3 trillion in assets under management. Our collaborative frameworks address fundamental changes in how knowledge workers approach their careers and professional relationships. The traditional command and control management structures that dominated the 20th century are increasingly ineffective for organizations dependent on innovation and analytical problem solving. The investor response exceeded expectations, with demand for Chen Dynamics shares driving the offering price to $28 per share, valuing the company at over $4 billion.
Maya retained majority control through a dual-class share structure that preserved her ability to maintain Chen Dynamics' collaborative culture despite public ownership pressures. Daniel returned to New York for the IPO celebration, where Chen Dynamics employees gathered to mark the transition to public company status. His presence at the ceremony symbolized the personal transformation that had paralleled the company's growth from regional consultancy to global industry leader. 5 years ago, I couldn't have imagined working for a company that prioritized employee development over hierarchical advancement, Daniel said during his remarks to the assembled staff. Chen Dynamics has demonstrated that collaborative principles aren't just ethically superior, they're more effective for generating sustainable business results. Maya listened to Daniel's speech with emotions that combined professional satisfaction with personal healing. The vindication she had sought through demonstrating his misjudgment had evolved into something far more meaningful: the creation of an organization where both of them could achieve their full potential while contributing to positive change in corporate culture. The months following Chen Dynamics' successful IPO brought new challenges as public company requirements demanded quarterly performance reporting and investor relations management. Maya established a dedicated team for handling regulatory compliance while protecting the operational autonomy that had enabled the company's innovative culture. Our first quarterly earnings report exceeded analyst expectations by 12%, reported Chief Financial Officer Elena Vasquez during their post-earnings conference call with institutional investors. Client acquisition rates remain strong across all geographic markets, while our expansion into digital transformation services is generating significant additional revenue streams. Maya fielded questions from analysts about competitive threats, market saturation concerns, and strategies for maintaining growth rates as Chen Dynamics approached the limits of the organizational transformation consulting market. Her responses emphasized the company's evolution beyond traditional consulting toward technology-enabled collaboration platforms. Chen Dynamics is developing proprietary software solutions that will allow clients to implement collaborative frameworks without requiring extensive on-site consulting support, Maya explained to Deutsche Bank's lead technology analyst. Our platform approach will enable us to serve smaller organizations while maintaining high-touch relationships with enterprise clients. The platform strategy represented Chen Dynamics' response to the scalability challenges that had constrained traditional consulting firms. By developing technology solutions that embedded collaborative methodologies into software applications, the company could serve thousands of clients simultaneously while preserving the personalized approach that had driven their success. Daniel led the platform development project from Frankfurt, where his team of software engineers and organizational psychologists worked to translate Chen Dynamics' methodologies into user-friendly applications. The challenge required balancing sophistication with accessibility while ensuring that automated tools preserved the adaptive flexibility that made human-guided transformation effective. The beta testing results are exceeding our projections, Daniel reported during their monthly platform review. Organizations using our collaborative software are achieving productivity improvements averaging 15%, while employee satisfaction scores increased by an average of 22%. The technology is successfully embedding our methodologies into daily workflows. Maya felt excitement about the platform's potential for democratizing access to collaborative transformation tools while creating sustainable revenue streams that could support Chen Dynamics' continued growth. The software approach would allow them to impact millions of workers rather than the thousands they could reach through traditional consulting engagements. The platform launch attracted attention from major technology companies seeking partnerships or acquisition opportunities. Google, Microsoft, and Salesforce all expressed interest in integrating Chen Dynamics' collaborative tools into their existing business software suites, potentially reaching hundreds of millions of users worldwide. The partnership discussions are progressing well, Maya reported to the board during their quarterly review session. Google's interest in embedding our methodologies into workspace applications could exponentially expand our market reach while generating substantial licensing revenue. Board member Dr. Hendricks raised important questions about maintaining Chen Dynamics' cultural integrity while partnering with technology giants known for aggressive competitive practices. How do we ensure that our collaborative principles aren't diluted when integrated into platforms designed primarily for efficiency and productivity? Maya appreciated the concern, which reflected ongoing tension between Chen Dynamics' humanistic values and commercial growth pressures. Our partnership agreements include specific provisions for preserving the philosophical foundations of our methodologies. Any integration must enhance rather than compromise the human development aspects of collaborative frameworks. The technology partnerships required extensive negotiation to balance commercial opportunities with Chen Dynamics' commitment to meaningful organizational transformation. Maya insisted on maintaining creative control over how their methodologies were implemented, while ensuring that partners understood the philosophical foundations underlying their practical techniques. As Chen Dynamics approached their 5th anniversary, Maya reflected on the journey from family humiliation to industry leadership while preparing for the annual employee conference that had become a celebration of collaborative achievement. The event would bring together 1,500 employees from around the world to share insights, discuss innovations, and reinforce the cultural values that had driven their collective success. Daniel's keynote presentation focused on the personal transformation that collaborative culture had enabled, using his own experience as a case study in the power of organizational environments to enhance rather than constrain human potential. His willingness to discuss his initial resistance to collaborative principles demonstrated the vulnerability and authenticity that had become hallmarks of Chen Dynamics' leadership style. When I first joined Chen Dynamics, I approached collaboration as a necessary compromise rather than a strategic advantage. My previous corporate experience had taught me that professional success required competing with teammates rather than supporting their development. Chen Dynamics showed me that collective achievement generates superior results while creating more satisfying professional relationships. Maya watched Daniel's presentation with emotions that combined professional pride with personal healing. The transformation from dismissive brother to inspiring leader had exceeded her most optimistic expectations, while demonstrating the potential for redemption and growth that made Chen Dynamics' work meaningful beyond financial returns. The conference concluded with Maya's presentation about Chen Dynamics' future vision, which emphasized the company's evolution from consulting firm to transformation platform. Her remarks focused on the opportunity to democratize access to collaborative methodologies while maintaining the human-centered values that had driven their success. The standing ovation that followed Maya's presentation reflected the genuine enthusiasm that Chen Dynamics employees felt for their collective mission. The applause continued for several minutes as 1,500 people from 4 continents celebrated their shared commitment to transforming how organizations treat human potential. Following the conference, Maya and Daniel spent several days in New York discussing their professional relationship and its evolution from competitive family dynamic to collaborative partnership.
The conversations allowed them to process the personal growth that had accompanied Chen Dynamics' business success, while establishing frameworks for maintaining healthy boundaries between their family connection and professional responsibilities. "I've been thinking about our Thanksgiving dinner conversation from 6 years ago," Daniel said during one of their reflective discussions. "My dismissive comments about your business reflected more than just ignorance. They revealed fundamental assumptions about legitimacy and success that I hadn't examined." Maya appreciated Daniel's continued willingness to explore the psychological dynamics that had shaped their early relationship, while recognizing that sustainable healing required ongoing attention rather than momentary acknowledgement. "Both of us have grown considerably since then. The important thing is maintaining the collaborative principles that have enabled our professional partnership." Their conversation touched on family dynamics, professional boundaries, and shared values, while avoiding the detailed excavation of past grievances that might undermine their current productive relationship. Maya had learned that successful transformation required focusing on future possibilities rather than historical resentments. 6 months later, Chen Dynamics announced the acquisition of three smaller consulting firms specializing in organizational psychology, change management, and technology implementation. The strategic purchases expanded the company's capabilities while providing opportunities for talented professionals to contribute to collaborative transformation projects at a larger scale. Maya's approach to the acquisitions reflected the collaborative principles that had guided Chen Dynamics' internal growth. Rather than imposing standardized procedures on the acquired firms, she encouraged them to maintain their distinctive methodologies while contributing to an expanded toolkit for organizational transformation. "We're not acquiring these companies to eliminate competition," Maya explained during the announcement press conference. "We're building a comprehensive ecosystem of transformation capabilities that can address the full spectrum of organizational challenges. Each firm brings unique expertise that enhances our collective ability to serve clients effectively." Daniel coordinated the integration process from his Frankfurt office, applying the change management expertise he had developed through Chen Dynamics' international expansion. His approach emphasized cultural preservation while facilitating collaboration between previously independent organizations. "The integration is proceeding smoothly," Daniel reported during their weekly coordination call. "Each acquired firm is maintaining its distinctive culture while contributing to joint projects that demonstrate the value of our expanded capabilities. Client feedback has been overwhelmingly positive about the enhanced service offerings." Maya felt satisfaction with the acquisition results while remaining vigilant about preserving Chen Dynamics' collaborative culture as the organization continued growing. The challenge of maintaining cultural integrity during rapid expansion required constant attention to the values and practices that had driven their success. The acquisitions positioned Chen Dynamics for entry into adjacent markets, including executive coaching, leadership development, and organizational assessment services. The expanded capabilities attracted new client categories while generating cross-selling opportunities with existing customers seeking comprehensive transformation support. As Chen Dynamics approached the end of its fifth year, Maya prepared for the annual shareholder meeting that would review the company's performance and establish strategic priorities for continued growth. The presentation would highlight financial achievements while emphasizing the human transformation that had made those results possible. Chen Dynamics has achieved consistent growth while maintaining industry-leading client satisfaction and employee retention rates, Maya told the assembled shareholders and analysts. "Our success demonstrates that humanistic business practices can generate superior financial returns when implemented with strategic discipline and operational excellence." The shareholder meeting concluded with unanimous approval of Chen Dynamics' strategic plan for international expansion, platform development, and capability enhancement through selective acquisitions. The board's confidence reflected 5 years of consistent performance that had established Chen Dynamics as the premier transformation consultancy globally. During the reception following the shareholder meeting, Maya was approached by Dr. Margaret Foster, who had been following Chen Dynamics' development since the early acquisition discussions with Meridian Financial. Her perspective as an outside observer provided valuable insights about the company's impact on the broader business community. "Chen Dynamics has fundamentally changed how our industry thinks about organizational effectiveness. Your collaborative methodologies are being adopted by competitors, business schools, and corporate executives who recognize their superior results. You've created more than just a successful company, you've initiated a paradigm shift." Maya appreciated the recognition while remaining focused on Chen Dynamics' ongoing evolution rather than past achievements. The company's influence on industry practices validated their methodologies while creating opportunities for continued innovation and growth. The conversation with Dr. Foster was interrupted by the arrival of Sir Richard Branson, who had become one of Chen Dynamics' most vocal advocates based on the transformation results achieved across Virgin's portfolio of companies. His endorsement had generated substantial additional business while enhancing the company's reputation for delivering exceptional outcomes. Maya, I wanted to personally thank you and Daniel for the remarkable work Chen Dynamics has accomplished with Virgin, Sir Richard said, his characteristic enthusiasm evident despite the formal setting. Our employee engagement scores have reached historic highs, while productivity improvements have exceeded every projection. Your collaborative approach has revolutionized how we think about human potential. Maya and Daniel exchange glances of mutual satisfaction as they receive Sir Richard's praise. The professional partnership that had emerged from family conflict was generating recognition from global business leaders while creating positive change in organizational cultures worldwide. As the evening concluded and guests departed, Maya reflected on the journey from that humiliating Thanksgiving dinner to becoming recognized as a transformational business leader. The vindication she had initially sought had evolved into something far more meaningful: the satisfaction of building an organization that enhanced, rather than diminished, everyone it touched. 7 years after starting this journey, Maya stood once again at the windows of Chen Dynamics headquarters, now occupying the entire top 5 floors of the Manhattan Tower that had become synonymous with organizational transformation excellence. The company employed over 4,000 people across 6 continents, with annual revenue exceeding $800 million and a market capitalization approaching $12 billion. Daniel had returned to New York to serve as Chief Operating Officer, a role that leveraged his international experience while allowing both siblings to collaborate on strategic initiatives that were shaping the future of business culture globally. Their professional partnership had become a case study in how personal transformation could enable extraordinary business achievements.
The platform technology that Daniel had pioneered was now used by over 50,000 organizations worldwide, democratizing access to collaborative methodologies while generating substantial recurring revenue that supported Chen Dynamics' continued innovation. The software had been translated into 37 languages and adapted for diverse cultural contexts while maintaining the core principles that made collaborative frameworks effective. The platform usage metrics are extraordinary, Daniel reported during their weekly strategy session. Organizations implementing our collaborative tools are achieving productivity improvements averaging 28% while reporting employee satisfaction increases of 35%. We're not just consulting, we're enabling transformation at scale. Maya reviewed the global impact statistics with amazement at how far Chen Dynamics had exceeded her original vision. What had begun as vindication for family dismissal had evolved into a movement that was reshaping how millions of people experienced their professional lives. The academic research validating Chen Dynamics methodologies had grown into a substantial body of literature documenting the effectiveness of collaborative organizational structures. Over 200 peer-reviewed studies had confirmed the superior performance of teams using their frameworks while identifying the psychological mechanisms that made collaboration more effective than competition. Dr. Rebecca Chen's longitudinal research had become the definitive academic analysis of Chen Dynamics' impact, documenting not only business performance improvements, but also enhancements in employee well-being, creativity, and professional development. Her findings had been incorporated into business school curricula worldwide while influencing organizational policies at major corporations. The research conclusively demonstrates that Chen Dynamics' collaborative methodologies generate superior outcomes across every measurable dimension, Dr. Chen reported during her presentation at the World Economic Forum in Davos. Organizations implementing these frameworks achieve better financial results while providing more satisfying professional experiences for employees. Maya attended the Davos presentation virtually from New York, participating in panel discussions about the future of work and organizational design. The platform provided opportunities to influence global conversations about business culture while building relationships with world leaders who could advance collaborative principles through policy initiatives. The recognition at Davos was followed by invitations to address the United Nations, the European Parliament, and the G20 Economic Summit about organizational transformation as a tool for addressing social challenges, including inequality, environmental sustainability, and technological displacement. Maya found herself advocating for collaborative principles as solutions to problems extending far beyond traditional business contexts.
Collaborative organizational structures can address many of the social challenges that traditional hierarchical institutions have failed to solve, Maya told the UN General Assembly during a session on sustainable development. When people work together effectively, they generate innovations that benefit society while creating more equitable distributions of opportunity and resources. The international recognition positioned Maya as a thought leader whose insights extended beyond business strategy to encompass social policy and human development. The platform provided opportunities to influence conversations about the future of work while demonstrating how private sector innovation could contribute to public good. Daniel's role in Chen Dynamics' global expansion had evolved to encompass strategic partnerships with governments, NGOs, and international organizations seeking to implement collaborative frameworks for addressing social challenges. His expertise in change management proved valuable for navigating complex political and cultural environments while maintaining focus on practical results. The pilot program with the European Union's Workforce Development Initiative is exceeding all performance targets, Daniel reported during their monthly international coordination call. Unemployed workers participating in our collaborative training programs are finding employment at rates 37% higher than traditional job placement services. Maya felt pride in Chen Dynamics' expanding social impact while maintaining focus on the business performance that enabled such contributions. The company's financial success provided resources for pro bono work while demonstrating that humanistic business practices could generate sustainable profitability. The balance between commercial success and social contribution had become central to Chen Dynamics' identity as the company approached its 8th anniversary. Maya's leadership philosophy emphasized using business success as a platform for addressing broader challenges while maintaining the operational excellence that had driven their growth. During the anniversary celebration, attended by employees from around the world, Maya delivered a keynote presentation that reflected on Chen Dynamics' evolution while articulating her vision for the company's future impact. The remarks emphasized the connection between personal transformation and organizational change while challenging attendees to think beyond traditional business objectives. 8 years ago, Chen Dynamics began with a simple observation: people perform better when they work together rather than against each other, Maya told the international audience. That insight has grown into a global movement, demonstrating that collaborative principles can solve problems ranging from corporate dysfunction to social inequality. The presentation continued with specific examples of Chen Dynamics' impact across multiple domains, from improving business performance to enhancing educational outcomes to facilitating international cooperation on environmental challenges. Maya's examples demonstrated how collaborative methodologies could be adapted for diverse contexts while maintaining their effectiveness. Daniel's introduction of Maya emphasized the personal transformation that had enabled her professional achievements while acknowledging the family dynamics that had initially motivated her entrepreneurial journey. His willingness to discuss their complicated history demonstrated the vulnerability and authenticity that had become central to Chen Dynamics' culture. Maya's journey from dismissed entrepreneur to global thought leader illustrates the potential that can be unleashed when people are supported rather than constrained by their organizational environments, Daniel said in his introduction. Her success has been built not on individual achievement, but on her ability to enhance the capabilities of everyone around her. Maya appreciated Daniel's recognition while feeling gratitude for the relationship they had built through shared commitment to collaborative principles. The vindication she had initially sought had been replaced by something far more valuable, a partnership based on mutual respect and shared purpose. The anniversary celebration concluded with the announcement of Chen Dynamics' most ambitious initiative, a global foundation dedicated to democratizing access to collaborative education and organizational transformation resources. The foundation would provide free training, software access, and consulting services to educational institutions, nonprofit organizations, and developing economy governments. The Chen Dynamics Foundation represents our commitment to ensuring that collaborative principles benefit everyone, not just those with resources to purchase consulting services, Maya announced during the closing ceremony. We believe that access to effective organizational tools should be determined by need rather than ability to pay. The foundation announcement generated enthusiasm from employees who had been seeking opportunities to contribute their expertise to social causes while maintaining their professional development within Chen Dynamics' commercial operations. The initiative provided a mechanism for channeling the company's resources towards maximum social impact.
Over the following months, the Foundation's programs attracted international attention as evidence mounted that collaborative methodologies could address challenges ranging from educational achievement gaps to community development initiatives. The work validated Maya's belief that business success could be leveraged for broader social benefit. Daniel assumed leadership of the Foundation's international programs, applying his change management expertise to the complex challenges of implementing collaborative frameworks in resource-constrained environments. His work with refugee organizations, developing economy governments, and educational institutions demonstrated how collaborative principles could be adapted for diverse contexts. Daniel's role in Chen Dynamics' global expansion had evolved to encompass strategic partnerships with governments, NGOs, and international organizations seeking to implement collaborative frameworks for addressing social challenges. His expertise in change management proved valuable for navigating complex political and cultural environments while maintaining focus on practical results. The pilot program with the European Union's Workforce Development Initiative is exceeding all performance targets, Daniel reported during their monthly international coordination call. Unemployed workers participating in our collaborative training programs are finding employment at rates 37% higher than traditional job placement services. Maya felt pride in Chen Dynamics' expanding social impact while maintaining focus on the business performance that enabled such contributions. The company's financial success provided resources for pro bono work while demonstrating that humanistic business practices could generate sustainable profitability. The balance between commercial success and social contribution had become central to Chen Dynamics' identity as the company approached its 8th anniversary. Maya's leadership philosophy emphasized using business success as a platform for addressing broader challenges while maintaining the operational excellence that had driven their growth. During the anniversary celebration, attended by employees from around the world, Maya delivered a keynote presentation that reflected on Chen Dynamics' evolution while articulating her vision for the company's future impact. The remarks emphasized the connection between personal transformation and organizational change while challenging attendees to think beyond traditional business objectives. 8 years ago, Chen Dynamics began with a simple observation. People perform better when they work together rather than against each other, Maya told the international audience. That insight has grown into a global movement, demonstrating that collaborative principles can solve problems ranging from corporate dysfunction to social inequality. The presentation continued with specific examples of Chen Dynamics' impact across multiple domains, from improving business performance to enhancing educational outcomes to facilitating international cooperation on environmental challenges. Maya's examples demonstrated how collaborative methodologies could be adapted for diverse contexts while maintaining their effectiveness. Daniel's introduction of Maya emphasized the personal transformation that had enabled her professional achievements while acknowledging the family dynamics that had initially motivated her entrepreneurial journey. His willingness to discuss their complicated history demonstrated the vulnerability and authenticity that had become
The Foundation's pilot programs are generating remarkable results, Daniel reported during a board presentation about the initiative's first-year outcomes. Schools implementing our collaborative methodologies are achieving learning improvements averaging 23%, while community organizations are reporting enhanced effectiveness in addressing local challenges. Maya felt satisfaction with the Foundation's impact while recognizing the ongoing responsibility to balance commercial success with social contribution. The challenge required maintaining Chen Dynamics' business performance while expanding their commitment to democratizing access to collaborative transformation resources. As Chen Dynamics entered its 9th year, Maya reflected on the personal journey that had begun with family humiliation and evolved into global leadership and organizational transformation. The vindication she had initially sought through demonstrating Daniel's misjudgment had been replaced by something far more meaningful: the opportunity to influence how millions of people experience their professional and personal relationships. The company's success had provided platform for addressing challenges that extended far beyond traditional business contexts, from improving educational outcomes to enhancing international cooperation to developing sustainable solutions for economic inequality. Maya's role had evolved from entrepreneur seeking validation to thought leader advocating for collaborative approaches to complex social problems. Daniel's transformation from dismissive brother to valued partner had paralleled Chen Dynamics' growth while demonstrating the potential for personal change that made their organizational work meaningful.
His journey from competitive individual to collaborative leader provided evidence that the methodologies they promoted could generate sustainable behavioral change when implemented with appropriate support and accountability. The relationship between Maya and Daniel had become a symbol of Chen Dynamics' core philosophy that competitive dynamics could be transformed into collaborative partnerships when people committed to supporting rather than constraining each other's development. Their professional success had emerged from personal healing while contributing to positive change in organizational cultures worldwide. Standing at her office windows as another day concluded, Maya contemplated the city below where thousands of organizations were implementing collaborative methodologies developed through Chen Dynamics research and consulting work. The lights representing offices, schools, hospitals, and community centers symbolized the human potential that could be enhanced through effective organizational design. The journey from that humiliating Thanksgiving dinner to global thought leadership had required persistence, strategic thinking, and commitment to principles that transcended personal vindication. Maya had discovered that the most satisfying success came not from defeating those who had dismissed her, but from creating environments where everyone could achieve their full potential. Daniel's footsteps in the corridor announced his arrival for their daily wrap-up conversation, a routine that had become central to their collaborative leadership of Chen Dynamics' continuing evolution. The discussions allowed them to coordinate strategic decisions while maintaining the personal connection that grounded their professional partnership. The foundation's educacity, but the early results suggest we're creating sustainable change in how people approach collective problem solving. Maya reviewed the foundation's performance metrics while feeling gratitude for the opportunity to contribute to positive change beyond traditional business objectives. The work validated her belief that entrepreneurial success could be leveraged for broader social benefit while maintaining the operational excellence that enabled such contributions. "How are you feeling about the decision to decline the acquisition offers?" Maya asked, referring to recent approaches from major technology companies seeking to purchase Chen Dynamics for amounts exceeding $15 billion. Daniel's response reflected the maturity and perspective he had developed through his leadership experience with Chen Dynamics' international expansion and foundation work. The financial terms were attractive, but accepting would have compromised our ability to maintain the collaborative culture that makes our work effective. Independence allows us to prioritize long-term impact over short-term returns. Maya appreciated Daniel's commitment to preserving Chen Dynamics' mission-driven culture, while recognizing the ongoing challenge of balancing commercial success with social contribution. The decisions they made would determine whether the company continued serving as a catalyst for positive change or became absorbed into conventional corporate structures. As their conversation continued, Maya reflected on how completely their relationship had been transformed through shared commitment to collaborative principles and mutual professional respect. The competitive family dynamic that had motivated her initial entrepreneurial journey had been replaced by partnership based on complementary strengths and shared purpose. The sun set over Manhattan as Maya and Daniel concluded their planning session and prepared to leave the office where Chen Dynamics' next chapter was being written. The building's lights represented the thousands of employees worldwide who were contributing to organizational transformation while building meaningful careers based on collaborative achievement rather than individual competition. Walking to the elevator together, Maya and Daniel discussed weekend plans that included family gatherings where their professional success was now celebrated rather than dismissed. The healing of their relationship had extended to broader family dynamics as relatives came to understand and appreciate the magnitude of what Chen Dynamics had achieved. "Are you ready for tomorrow's presentation to the Fortune 500 CEOs?" Daniel asked as the elevator descended toward the lobby where their respective cars were waiting. Maya felt confident about the presentation while recognizing the ongoing opportunity to influence how major corporations approached organizational culture and human development. The research data is compelling, and the case studies demonstrate clear advantages for collaborative approaches. The challenge will be helping them understand that cultural change requires sustained commitment rather than quick fixes. The elevator reached the lobby as Maya contemplated the presentation that would offer Fortune 500 leaders evidence that collaborative methodologies could enhance their organization's performance while improving employee satisfaction and retention. The opportunity represented another step in Chen Dynamics' mission to democratize access to effective organizational transformation resources. Standing outside the building in the crisp evening air, Maya and Daniel exchanged brief farewells before departing for their respective homes. The routine conclusion to their workday symbolized the balance they had achieved between professional collaboration and personal autonomy while maintaining the shared commitment that had driven Chen Dynamics' success. During the drive home, Maya reflected on the journey that had transformed family humiliation into global leadership while creating positive change in how millions of people experience their professional relationships. The vindication she had initially sought through demonstrating Daniel's misjudgment had been replaced by something far more meaningful: the opportunity to influence how millions of people experience their professional and personal relationships. 10 years after that devastating Thanksgiving dinner, Maya had not only proven Daniel wrong about her business capabilities, but had created an enterprise that was reshaping how organizations worldwide approached human potential and collaborative achievement. The hobby business he had dismissed with condescending amusement had become a global movement, demonstrating that success comes not from defeating others, but from empowering everyone to achieve their best work. The transformation was complete, though Maya understood that sustainable change required ongoing attention to the values and practices that had enabled Chen Dynamics' remarkable journey. The future held unlimited possibilities for continued growth and positive impact, built on the foundation of collaborative principles that had turned family conflict into partnership and personal vindication into global transformation.